Hi, this is Craig Dees with Cloud Action, welcoming you today to our technical session, how to integrate TFS and Remedyforce in 30 minutes or less. Before we get started on the technical session, I want to go through a couple of housekeeping items. The attendee phones now are on mute, but we do encourage questions. If you'll look at your control panel there on the right side of your screen, you'll see a questions box. Please feel free to ask any question you'd like in that question pane, and we'll do our best to get to all of them today. If we don't get them to it today, we'll respond via email to you within 24 hours. And with that, I'd like to turn the floor over to our first speaker, Daniel Snow. Daniel is Cloud Action's Product and Solution Director, and he's a driving force behind actionHub, which is the world's first integration platform built entirely on Salesforce. So with that, Daniel, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Craig, and thanks for all you joining today, and appreciate your time. So I just want to set the stage. I know you all came to see our integration with TFS and Remedyforce, but I just want to set the stage first and help you understand, what actionHub does on a broader scale. First of all, as Remedyforce customers, you have a number of things that are on the Salesforce platform that you may be able to leverage, as part of your investment in the platform. So some of you may be using Sales Cloud for CRM or Service Cloud for external customer service. And so, actionHub can also be a solution for integration between Remedyforce and those components. Likewise, from an IT service management perspective, your integration with TFS represents a great use case for integrating your service management from the service desk on into your development teams. But there are a lot of other common touch points for our Remedyforce customers. For example, monitoring systems like SolarWinds or Splunk or TrueSights. You may have a number of systems that are monitoring different pieces of infrastructure, and so actionHub can also help you integrate those with Remedyforce for automatic incident creation, or for e-bonding. You may do e-bonding with customers or vendors to be able to automatically escalate tickets between your Remedyforce system and those platforms. So actionHub in general is designed to be a platform so that Remedyforce can seamlessly integrate, or your other platform solutions for that matter can seamlessly integrate with those other components. And so when we look at actionHub as a whole, we built it on top of the Salesforce platform, for our customers as a much simpler way to integrate and automate things around the platform. So, traditionally, integrations were performed either with custom one-off integrations, hard-coded integrations, or with really, bulky, bloated middleware platforms, that ultimately required a lot of custom dev or scripting anyway. And so, actionHub, at its heart, a few things that set it apart. It's built entirely on the Salesforce platform. It gives you the ability to easily and set up seamless integration. Again, with a variety of apps. Those may be other apps that are in the cloud, or other apps that are apps that are on-prem. So now, interestingly, in terms of TFS, some of you may be in the cloud and some of you may be on-prem. So, and we do support both. But actionHub at its core will give you the ability to easily set up, the data movement and orchestrate business logic to set up integration between those different systems. And while we do have pre-built connectors for a wide variety of systems, and I mentioned a number of those here today, keep in mind your legacy apps, homegrown apps, a lot of other things. We've got a standard REST adapter that will connect with a lot of different systems. And we also have the ability to connect with those legacy and homegrown apps. You can connect with really anything by extending it with your own custom adapters. So if you have any questions on that, always you can reach out to us and we can talk through those in more detail. But there's really nothing you can't integrate with and manage it easily using actionHub rules. So I know you came to see this integration, so I will turn the presentation over to Colin Parker. Colin's our Chief Connector Architect, and he will get right to it and show you our integration with TFS and Remedyforce and how that is put together.
Great. Thanks, Daniel. Hi, everyone. This is Colin. Let me get out of the presentation really quick here. So today I'm going to be walking through a very common use case that a lot of our customers implement with actionHub, and that is, you have your customer-facing support in a system like Remedyforce, and you have your dev team working in a separate system, like TFS today or Jira or Rally, right? So this is pretty common in an enterprise that you're going to have these two separate teams and two separate applications, but they really need to communicate and collaborate in a real-time way to give the best service to your customers. So that's what we're going to be walking through today. And so to get started, let's take a look at our incident form in Remedyforce. I just want to go over some of the few key fields we're going to be working with today while I go through the demo. The first one here is our category. If you're used to Remedyforce, you've seen this field a lot. And underneath our TFS projects in here, we have a few of our different projects we have set up in our demo environment. These represent the different strategic adapters that we maintain for our customers. So we have Scorch, ServiceNow, and Jira. So for today, we're going to hook up to the Jira project. So hit OK. And then another couple common fields you usually see is the short description. So we'll just say there's a error connecting to Jira. And then in the description you can usually put steps to reproduce the issue, and any additional details that are required to fix the bug. Also on the right we have this issue type here, drop down. So this actually maps to what our different work item types are in TFS. So if we pick one of these, we can actually map this over so that work item type gets created. So we'll pick bug for this case. And then I'm going to scroll down a little bit, and we also have our impact and urgencies here. So we'll go ahead and pick high for both of these. Right, and then we scroll down a little further, we have the owner, right? So in here, we have a queue set up for application development. So that's the team that's going to be handling this. So those are our few key fields. So what I'm going to do live for you today is I'm actually going to build out a actionHub rule that's going to take this information and go and create a work item inside of TFS. So now that I've showed you the different fields we're going to work with, I'm going to hop back over to actionHub. You'll see inside of actionHub I already have 3 rules staged up for the ending of the demo here today. So I'm just going to go ahead and create our first one. Scroll to the top, and we'll just give it a good name here. And we'll just say create TFS work item. All right, so when we first create our rule, we need to tell it where our source is coming from. So since we're going to take a Remedyforce incident and go create a TFS work item, our source is going to be Salesforce in here from our drop-down list. So that's where our source record is going to come from. Now that we pick that, we get a drop-down of all the objects inside of our Salesforce org. So we can have the source object as any object in Salesforce, whether that's out of the box or custom. So in this case, we'll go ahead and pick incident from our list right here. So now that we have that picked, we have our conditions down here that you need to fill out. So this is basically saying, when do you want to send a record over to TFS to create that work item? So I mentioned briefly we have that application development queue. So we're going to actually key off of that and say, whenever an incident is assigned to that queue, we want to go and just create a TFS work item for that incident. So from my drop-down, I have all the fields from my incident object loaded here. So I'm going to go find my queue field. And we're going to make sure this equals app development because that's the only one we want to use to send items to TFS. And then we'll just make sure this queue actually changes. We don't want to fire this off all the time, just when it does that first initial change. So I can use something called the old value of the queue and compare those to make sure that they're different so it's actually changed. So with these two simple lines of conditions, we've basically done our job of saying only when things get assigned to the app development queue for the first time, go and fire off our action. So with the conditions out of the way, we can move on to our action step down here. So this is where we're actually going to pick our target connection, and in this case it's going to be our TFS demo org. And we want to go create a work item, so we're going to go ahead and pick work item from our default collection here. And so there's a couple of quick parameters to fill out. You can set your API version. This is typically just 1.0, but later down there's going to be support for more, so it's a good setting to have. And we can also set whether we're going to go and query data out of TFS or do an upsert. In this case, we're going to go create a work item, so this is going to be an upsert action. Now onto our field mappings here. This is where we're actually going to dictate what information flows over to TFS. So a couple of really important ones are obviously setting your project, your team project here. Now, when I spoke earlier about the category, you saw that I had the different projects inside the category tree. So what I can do is I can just map over that category value right from my incident to my project. So we can make this all data-driven, and set the project based on whatever data is in the incident. Another important one, I talked about that issue type. So that's going to map over to our work item type. So we can directly map that over as well. So our issue type. And then we have the basics, like we have the short description that we can map to the title inside of TFS. So that, that's a pretty straightforward mapping. And the same that goes for description as well. We can just map those directly over to each other. Now I did mention both the urgency and impact that I filled out as well. In a lot of systems you'll run into this where you want to sync up fields, but the values between the two systems don't exactly line up. So for example, in TFS we have severity that you can map to impact on the Remedyforce side, but the values don't quite line up. So this is where we have some nice features inside of actionHub to help you out with doing that kind of translation. So I've pre-staged a couple of value mappings in here. So let me open the severity one. And you'll see it's just a simple two-column values, where the values for Remedyforce are here on the left, and they'll translate before it gets sent to TFS over to the TFS value on the right here. So this is just a very simple, easy way of doing your translation to ensure that the systems can talk to each other but still maintain their own internal processes. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and click on my severity map, and then I'll pass in from my fields, I'll go ahead and pass in my impacts value. And I'm going to do the exact same thing here for my priority. I'm going to actually map this over using my mapping. I'm going to use the urgency field. Right. So now we have pretty good size data that we're going to send over to fill out on our work item. The last step here is our response mappings. So once we go and create that work item, we want to be able to get the ID of the work item back into our incident so we can have them sync up in the future for any updates that we want to send two-way between the two systems. So I have a field set up on our incident called TFS work item ID. So I'm just going to map the work item ID that comes back from TFS to that. So with all that done, our rule is ready to go and use. I just got to turn it on and give it a save. All right, so let's hop back over to Remedyforce. And since we already have everything filled out, I can just go ahead and click Save on my incident here. And it just takes a second or two. And actually, so you'll see down here we have this View TFS Work Item field, and this gives us a direct link. Since we're storing back that ID that gets created, we get a direct link back to that work item inside of Remedyforce, so I can click on that, and it brings us over to our work item that just got created, and the values passed over. So you can see for our priorities and our severities, we have our high value mappings, and we also have our title over here. And also some other features that I'm going to be showing you, we talk about you need to really collaborate in real time to make this, most efficient as possible. So a common thing, is development will get a bug, but, they need some more information from the customer or from support to really be able to figure it out. So what we'll do is we'll just say, we need a screenshot of the error that they're getting, right? So we can go ahead and add that to our history and click Save. And what will happen is we have a rule set up now that will take that from TFS, that update, and go and sync it to our incident here. So let's go to our record details and just give it a second. And you'll see it's here in our action history, and we have our note that we need the screenshot of the error right here. Right, so now with that, support can say, okay, let's go get a screenshot from the customer, and we can go ahead and attach it to our incident. So we'll pick our actionHub image here, upload that, and now let's go back over to our work item and go to attachments, and we'll do a refresh. And we should get it momentarily here. Well, attachments don't seem like they're coming through right now. I'm not sure what's going on with that. So let me show you how we can actually send information back into our Remedyforce incident. So, typically at the end of your bug cycle, you're going to want to close it out and inform people that, everything has been resolved. Let support know and let your customers know. So what we can do is go ahead and close out our TFS work item here. And just like the comment that I put in our history, this will actually go and update our incident on this side. So we can go ahead and we'll hit reload. And we'll just give it another second or so for that to come in and update our incident. So you'll see now our status is set to closed, and we put the reason in our resolution. So that's just to give you a quick sample of the type of two-way communication that we can give between Remedyforce and TFS. And there's obviously a lot more you can do. We can send attachments two ways, comments two ways. We can create Remedyforce incidents from work items that get created in TFS. So there's a lot that can be done there to map to your specific business processes. So actionHub is set up to give you that kind of flexibility. So at the end of that, that's the end of the technical session. So we'll go on to the next part, which I believe is Craig.
That's right, Colin. Thank you very much for that presentation. I'd like to take about 30 seconds here to talk a little bit about Cloud Action and what we're all about. We are the first consulting company that is focused exclusively on Remedyforce and the Salesforce platform, and as such, we've got great relationships with our partners, BMC Software, the creator of Remedyforce, as well as Salesforce, and it's a partnership that actually is longer than goes back prior to the founding of Cloud Action. We have more experienced and certified consultants than any other Remedyforce consulting firm, and we've had more than 175. It's getting close to 200 successful Remedyforce implementations in the last couple of years. And out of those implementations, that's where we've come up with innovations like actionHub, and to get to and answer feedback from our clients. And now we have, as Daniel was saying, we've got 10 plus connectors, pre-built connectors, and growing. So with aside, that little commercial break, I'd like now to get to the questions that we've received. I know I've been seeing them come in, as well as Samir Kumar, who is the president and co-founder of Cloud Action. Samir, what are you seeing?
Well, I got a lot of interesting questions, Craig. Thank you very much. I'm not sure how many we can cover. If we cannot, then we will get back to you guys. So, Colin, the first question is, let's say the question is saying, they're impressed. So, if you set up the rules, can you update the rules or make the changes as the business requirement changes? That's the first question I have.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, one of the the core design ethos we have is, we want to empower your Salesforce admin to be able to make these, business process changes, or even your business analyst, to give them the power to do that, since they have the best knowledge what the business processes are. So we try to cut out the middleman to give, a better experience to the customer.
Thank you. I have another question, and the question is pretty real environment, looks like it. One of the guys asking a question that if somebody has a multiple TFS collections, can you connect both or more than two if they have?
Yeah, absolutely. So that was actually very important in the design of our adapter for TFS, because the on-premise version, you can create multiple collections that have that can have totally different schemas for their work items. So your sets of fields for your work items can be completely different. So we've built that support directly into the adapter, so you can pick which collection you're integrating with. So when you pull down those field mappings, you're going to get the field specifically for that collection. So it just makes it more straightforward to be able to set up those rules that you need to.
Okay, thank you, Colin. I have another question here, and this question sounds to me more realistic. A lot of people are moving from their on-prem to the cloud. Their journey is still on. So can this solution work on-prem and cloud, and how it works? That's the question.
Yeah, so this is also something that was very important to us, because we knew we were going to have people in mixed environments. So the mechanisms that we use to integrate with TFS are available both in the on-prem and the cloud version, which is the web services API that we use to connect to create and update work items, as well as the webhooks for sending the data out of TFS when something gets updated. So both those two technologies exist both in on-prem and cloud. So our solution works for both seamlessly in the same exact way. So we got you covered there. So even if you're on-prem now and you want to have an integration and you're looking to go to the cloud, we can still get you covered, with very minimal transition, to work in the cloud.
Great, thank you, Colin. Again, I have 4 or 5 more questions. I may cover 2 because respect the time of the people. So one question here is, sounds like somebody has Service Cloud and Remedyforce. The question here is, can they integrate from Service Cloud straight to TFS, or they have to go through Remedyforce?
Good question. So you do not have to go through Remedyforce. The way actionHub is designed, we allow you to integrate with any of your objects inside your Salesforce organization. So whether that be Service Cloud or maybe you have an application off the App Exchange, you can set up your TFS integration to work with any of them just by setting up your rules. So you have the full flexibility to really integrate with any of the objects within your Salesforce org.
Okay, and that would be the last. There are 4 questions, but this would be another question we'll take up. The question is, if somebody wants to play with actionHub and they want to download it, where they need to go? And I can take that question on behalf of you, Colin. So our actionHub is approved solution on an App Exchange of Salesforce. So you can go ahead and download it from there, or it's also a part of Remedyforce package. So when you download Remedyforce package, you can get the actionHub. For the particular connectors, whoever is looking for, I think Daniel spoke about the total solution we got within actionHub as a connectors. You can reach out to us, and one of our engineers will help you set that up. We have some more questions, but since we are on the top of the hour, so I'll hand it over to you, Craig.
Well, thanks, Samir. In closing, that's the end of the technical session. I did want to let everyone know that we recorded today's session, and I will be posting that out on the Cloud Action YouTube channel, and I will send everyone a link to that to the webinar in case you want to go back and see what Colin was showing us. I also want to point you toward our website, cloudaction.com. We have a lot of resources out there that include a lot of helpful information with our blog, with our videos, success stories, and with the Ask Us Now service, which is ask us any question, we'll get back to you within 24 hours with an answer. And with that, I want to we'll close the session. I want to thank you for your time, and let's go out and have a productive rest of the day. Thank you.